Hello, and I trust and hope that you are having a beautiful day. It's a saying that you should make the best of what you've got. But where does that come from? I feel that it comes from basically the same place that cuneiform text comes from. Imagine, if you will, and certainly from what we see of history, we've come out of a technolithic age and you're left with using whatever you can salvage from that technological age. So imagine if you now have an abundance of clay. Those early writing forms called cuneiform, where you make an impression, you're able to communicate with other surviving groups that you're physically separated from, or you're recording information. You leave an impression in the world of your civilization, your daily account, maybe a warning to the future so things don't happen again. I've said over many videos that the alphabet is just a series of glyphs, basically like people are taught or shown that glyphs in Egyptian are just depictions. The same with all of the ancient writing systems, are basically just stylized shorthand expressions to record things. So making the best of what you got. If you've got clay, you have a sort of writing system. But the alphabet, they are called characters. There's actually 27 of them. The final silent character is the ampersand. The amp is sound. Another way of expressing this would be to say what is good and what is evil. Well, what is a measurement? So power is good and power can be evil. It comes down to your intent, how you use these things. So before I go on to that sort of branch to talk about, because it does lead on to something else, so let's look at cuneiform. Now, keep in mind there's things like dialects and vowel shifts. And accents and things will change the way you hear things. I notice, particularly with Canadians, they will say a boot, or to my ears it sounds like the word a boot rather than about, how we would say it in English. But obviously it's the same word, but with a slightly different accent. So another example, i.e., strange coincidence, but there's no coincidence. So change the E to an I and look at cuneiform. Do you see you in form? Because it is informing you. It's impressions in clay for you to see. And of course it is also a reference to in, the going within. That's where this comes from. It began, in my particular experience of this, is the word there, and they are, in its abbreviated form as there. So you've got the sound is exactly, or pretty much the same, but with three very different meanings. It's theirs as in possession, it's over there as in distance, and it's an abbreviation of they are. But there are no coincidences, and the more you sort of start looking at this, you start seeing patterns, and this reality is all about patterns, like the one I've mentioned on the previous two videos, how you learn to cross a road, going from one side to the other, and learning from the experience, learning fear and then overcoming fear. That is a blueprint for this life, in the same way that learning to walk. You don't give up on the first time you fall. You pick yourself up again, and your determination will get you through where it becomes second nature. You create an impression upon oneself. So where was we going? It'll come back to me. It links into a channel called Anmarie Über, who looks at tarot cards, and there's a video, Are Tarot Cards Evil? And it talks about Ouija boards. Well, let's look at the word Ouija. It consists of the French and the German for yes. So it's a yes, yes. But what are you saying yes to? As Ken Wheeler has shown and has explained, which I've sort of echoed here, that the Ouija board is just a board game. It's made of card and it's a plastic planchard. So where is the source of its power? Where is its intent? But consider how circuitry works. You have a positive output and a negative return. You have this going on in your body. You have veins and you have arteries. So you've got a pushing out with the arteries and a return with the veins. The red shift, blue shift. Every time you breathe in and out, it's the same process. Look out in nature. Look at the tide. It's an ebb and a flow. It's duality. But a Ouija board is something entirely different, because if we take yes to represent the plus, so its opposite would be the no, the negative. You have a plus plus. So personally, I would say, do not even go down that road. But tarot cards, tarot, I hear Torah. Now, regardless of the origins of it and whether it was intended to be good or evil, it is like everything else in this reality. What is good and what is evil? What? It's power. Your empowerment, what you put into these things, whether you are doing it for benevolent or self-serving means. That's simply all it is. I mean, it's argued, particularly from religious perspectives, that, oh, you shouldn't touch tarot, you shouldn't touch any of these things. Well, sorry, just look at the story in the Bible. You have 3 wise men. They are following a star. By its very definition, that is astrology, that is astronomy. It is a study of the stars, or a study of one particular star in that story. Tarot cards. I mean, I will listen to tarot cards readings, but I don't use it for trying to predict the future. Think of the film Terminator and Kyle Reese, which is an anagram of like seer, because in that story he is from 2029 going back to, I think it's 1984 in that film. So he does know something about one possible future, as he says in the film. But it tells you in there, the future is not set except that which we make for ourselves. So if you look at the external world, take, for example, a car accident. It's all in the hands of the insurance companies. It is all about being able to point the finger and say who is to blame for it. It is a reflection to say about taking personal responsibility. But you know how easy it is to be offended. I mean, if whatever's happened to you, it's nice to get that reassuring, oh, there, poor you. But it's just reaffirming the victimhood, when the honest answer that people really don't want to hear is, well, you did it to yourself. But that is very true. But it depends how it's like the intent. Do you see things in a negative way, or do you see things in a positive way? When something happens to you at that moment, like your first introduction to the experience of a panic attack, is it bad? Because we're programmed to ask that question inside ourselves. What is wrong with me? Well, the actual answer is there is absolutely nothing wrong with you at all. You are just going through experience. You are being shown something which you have conflicts between mind and body. Because the first communication to really get to know is know thyself. Know thy body. What is that message coming up? If you're getting aches in your neck or your shoulders, It's probably because your body is telling you you are carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. But do you listen to what that ache or pain in your body is saying to you, or do you try and suppress it with an antibiotic or a painkiller? It's like saying, there's a fire alarm going and I don't like the sound of it, so I will disconnect it. It's there for a reason. You get these pains and aches as a warning. Whether you can interpret them and realize that is, well, there is an answer to that, and I would recommend it, and that is doing the language lessons of the heart. You can find playlists with all about it. There's 2 playlists on Simplicity Revealed channel, so I'm going to say go over there. I'll put the link to Julia's channel. Excuse me. So what was that just saying? I've coughed. So it's a clearing. It's basically telling me that I need to be cutting out the dairy and going through a mucus-free diet. But at this present moment, I have to adapt like nature to the present circumstances. But I'm not going to stay in those circumstances, because there is a beautiful story I'm watching unfold. I'm not going to reveal because it hasn't actually happened yet, so I can't give you any proof of it. But the best is yet to come, and it's not some sort of far distant wish. But a wish is like when you wish to learn to walk. You keep going, you see it through, you go all in. You put all of yourself into it. You stay faithful to that feeling inside yourself. Look at the word faith. It has I right in the middle of it. It is all taking responsibility, take personal responsibility, because you are the centre of your world. Nobody will love you like you love you. That sounds very egotistical, but it's true. Only you, hopefully, have your best interests at heart, but we are programmed through this system to harm ourselves in so many ways, physically as much as mentally. But we can, it's like that crossing the road. You can overcome these things. On another little thing maybe to think about, and I'm not saying this because I want you to feel fear, I want you to really weigh this up inside yourselves. If you look at the spiritual messages, this theme of letting go of material possessions, I mean, the perfect example of this is Tutankhamun, and you cannot take it with you. But let's look at this a little bit deeper. You cannot take it with you. That's in the micro. Now I ask you to consider, what about in the macro? If we are co-creators, created in the image of something, and therefore have the same abilities, what about this collective creator? Does that let go? I feel that you can look at this in another way. If you look at the sci-fi series Doctor Who, I can't remember which Doctor it is. It may well have been Christopher Eccleston, or a more recent one, and you've got that time machine called the TARDIS. Well, this is a biological machine. These avatars are a machine. They are to a design, like everything else in nature. So it is a type of technology, a living organic technology, as opposed to a computer technology. But of course, man applies labels, and then it gets you to only see certain things and apply those labels too. But if you open up the mind to see what information technology is, I mean, you really are it. That's the I, the informed field, and the biological technology. Whether you recognize it in yourself and acknowledge it in yourself, that's down to you. But that's what it is. It just is. I mean, it can be tough justice, it can be rough justice, but it just is, because you are a presence in the present. These words are giving you little clues. We are in a realm of duality. So do you really think that it would all be evil and all set against you, and there would not be clues left for you to find? But seek and ye shall find. But of course, it requires careful discernment and weighing things up internally. How do you feel from that new information presented? Does it sit well in you? Does it feel wrong to you? Are you holding on to a belief and trying to fit that new information round a belief? Well, I mean, a belief system, as Lana A LaBonte has brilliantly put. A belief system is a BS. Total BS, actually. It's not about having belief, it's about having faith in oneself, because you are a personification, you are an individual expression of one that is having a dream and has created it. It's an internal story that has been turned inside out into the external world, but it is actually an internal story. But of course, it's walking in two worlds, an internal one and an external one, and then being able to weave through the two. The yin and yang symbol, on one side is the light, on the one side is the dark, and you have to weave your way, looking both sides, like when you're crossing a road, being aware of all that is going on around you. So, a few things to ponder there, I feel, and I can't give you the answers. You have already got the answers. It just requires weighing things up within oneself. Make the best of what you got. If you feel that you haven't got, then you have lack. But you have the power to turn that around. You create the world around you because you are a co-creator. See the world and create the world as you wish it to be. It starts from within you, like a magnet. It radiates out, like that stone that's dropped into the pond because you fell into this reality, as it were, metaphorically speaking. The spirit that now is being hosted in a physical, biological avatar, whatever you want to call it, these living flesh and blood meat suits with a skeletal structure. But it's all to have an experience. You're in a physical reality, so you need a physical vehicle to operate and experience it. That's why we have these physical bodies, but you are not the body. The body will expire, but it's nothing to be frightened of. You can't have life without death any more than you can have light without dark or dark without light. But acknowledge both sides of yourself, because it's all going on within you. You have a divine masculine, you have a divine feminine, regardless of what your physical form is. It's, if you think, the simplest way is to think of it is like the divine feminine is the nurturing, the mothering, it's the heart. The divine masculine is the pineal gland that is going outwards, creating, taking on the male role, as it were. But it's when you bring the two in harmony and with it in unity. I know there's the word harmony means harmony. Well, turn it round, turn it inside of yourself. When you're presented with new information, does that new information harm many of yourselves? Are you feeling discomfort from that new information? Is it something that you've not come across before? If we're not open, how are we ever going to know? It's all about having experiences here. So weigh everything up. New information is like a mind food, so it takes time to digest. It's about finding that balance within oneself again. It is all really about going within. So this video, like the others, is going in the playlist called Go Within, which I explained on the last video, breaking that down as to what that means as well. But notice within, because if you look outside of yourself, you will go without. So now I've got to remember, I'll probably have to play this back to remember the Other channels I've mentioned, but up to you whether you look at them. But I would recommend it. And most important of all is to do that language lessons of the heart, or if you can find another modality that may work better for you, then go with that. Whatever works for you to find yourself and find out who you truly are, what you really are capable of, and that word what again, power. But how are you going to use that power? It doesn't mean that you have to shun the material world and, oh no, can't have that, can't have any of it. It's all an experience. But if you are just doing that to hoard and just to benefit you, it's a very silly path to go down, because what you'll find is once you've got the thing, you'll get bored with it, or it will start to disintegrate. Everything is finite in this reality. Things get broken, and you may have put a lot of effort, a lot of maybe scheming or something, and at other people's expense to get a particular thing. But when you've got it, is it really? How do you feel after having it for 5 years or 10 years? Is it still bringing you that satisfaction or excitement? You take, for example, a favourite song. What happens if you play it 100, 200, 300 times? Are you going to get bored with it, or does it still contain magic in it for you? I think you get the picture with that one of. But the real wealth is nothing to do with the outside material world. The real wealth is from being benevolent, and it's magnetic, because whatever you put out, you're going to get back. So if you want to put out fear, what do you think you're going to get back? So it's all about internalizing. It is all about weighing up it within oneself. But equally, and probably actually more important, is to do that inner work, to face your shadow side, face your demons, face all those ghosts you keep alive, those things, those cruel words. They're only words that were said to you, I don't know, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, depending on how old you are. Are you still letting them affect you? And people say, oh, they're just words. Well, clearly they do have power. If something that was said to you, that you're no good or you're useless, and you're still carrying that decades and decades later, those words clearly do have power, because you've placed a restriction on yourself. You've taken and accepted a script that you do not know to be true, but you haven't discovered yourself. You haven't uncovered yourself and looked deep within inside yourself, because there's a magic in there. And I really hope that you'll find this inside yourself, because it is there. But it is entirely up to you whether you even want to find it. You may be happy sitting in your comfort zone of anxiety or whatever, or living in fear, but do you really want to stay there? Do you really want to feel like that? Or do you want to take that first step into the unknown? Because it's going to feel unpleasant. You don't know it. But how are you going to know without doing it? It's like that cupboard door and the darkness, or the monster under the bed. Was it really there? Or did you just empower it by focusing on it and believing it to be real? More likely it was just another Wizard of Oz illusion of something to be terrified of, and then you find that it's just a hologram, it's just a projection, and that's all they are. And that's what this world is. It is a reflection on which to project into, and depending on what you project will depend on what you get reflected back. So may you find it inside yourself. And wow, we're up to almost 25 minutes here, so I'm going to say love to you all, and may you find the I amness within you. It's empowering, and it's a game changer, and about how you see, feel and interact with this external world, the world that is external of you. So I love you all and have a beautiful, beautiful